Hello, hello, luminaries. I have a very special guest today. It has been such a long time since I brought somebody else onto the podcast, and I'm so excited that it's my friend, international best-selling author of You Are the Medicine and the Sacred Medicine Oracle, as well as the Animal Elders Oracle. Welcome to Star Powered Astrology for Changemakers. I'm Leslie Tagorda, your guide, a Hawaii-born Filipino Jewish astrologer who loves navigating visionaries like you through the spiritual journey of your work so that you can be inspired to lead by your chart and become the luminary leader you were born to be. All right. Hello, hello, Asha. Welcome back to Star Powered.
Oh, my favorite place to be. Thanks for having me again.
Oh, yes. If you're new to this channel, you might not know that Asha Frost, Ojibwe Indigenous medicine woman, and I have been friends since we began our book writing journey back in 2019. And Asha's star has not only risen, but it has shone so brightly. You have a number of books, a number of decks, a number of recordings. Like, tell us what you do, Asha.
Thanks. Well, I am a healer. I am a medicine woman, an author, a speaker, and an oracle deck creator. I've been in business for 20 years, just doing my thing and sharing my medicine. And now, yeah, it has expanded since my book came out. And things have just kind of flowed since then. So now I'm in this creation mode and I have this new deck.
Well, I remember when and I'm going to always talk about this story because I just love this story so much. When we first met in Houston at like a writing conference for us aspiring authors. And I was so drawn to you. I knew I needed to speak to you. And I beelined right to you. And I was like, who are you? Tell me everything about you. And then I had so many questions that we'll explore. But one of the most amazing things that I remember about our time together as we were going to the workshops and getting coaching and then becoming friends and just kind of supporting each other, me in San Francisco and you in Canada, was on your name tag, you wrote international best-selling author. Do you remember that?
I do. I do remember that. Yeah, I feel like in those moments I really tried to dream this got into being. I really did. I was really serious about it. I feel like maybe that's part of my astrology, but I think I was really serious at that moment about this being an opening up portal to things starting to manifest for me.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you have such an impact on me personally, just like your love and your kindness and your friendship, how you show up in the world, how so many of the challenges that you've gone through. But when I just think about, seeing this imprint on your new deck, international best-selling author, You Are the Medicine and the Sacred Medicine Oracle. It just I'm so happy for you. I'm so proud of you. It just it just brings so much joy to my heart.
Oh my gosh, well, I adore you. You know that. And the way I remember it is you came like this like flowing, beautiful energy of love and like expansion and into my life. And I thought, oh my goodness, we're gonna be BFFs forever because I could feel it so deeply. I adore you. And over the years you have helped me. You know that it hasn't been this kind of straight line up. There's been a lot of hilly times and roller coastery moments, and you've always been there supporting those times. And that's what happens in expansion, right? We have those contraction moments, and those are always there for me.
Always there. So today, Asha, I hope that you will share with us a little bit about your deck. And then I have a lot of questions about your writing and your visibility process. And lastly, because we are meeting at this beautiful time where in the Northern Hemisphere, our days are getting shorter, approaching the shortest day of the year. For those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, our solstice, our December solstice, maybe you can help us with a little bit of solstice medicine today. Does that sound good?
Yes. So the deck is called the Animal Elders Oracle. And when I dreamed up the name, dreamed up the vision, I felt these elder type of energies come in through the animal medicine. And I thought, I wonder what that is. Now, I know we've probably been exposed to different spirit animal decks. So one of my visions was to have something a little bit different. And the other one was we have been fractured from eldership. You know, youth is valued in our society. Indigenous people, Indigenous societies honor our elders so deeply, and that's not shared across many communities. So the elders felt like they wanted to come and make their presence known, saying, how do we bring our medicine back onto the world, into the world, onto the earth? How can we make this successful? And I felt like animals carry so much wisdom. So I see elder wisdom in everybody I meet, and I see it in these spirit beings. So how can we make them accessible for everyone to access elder medicine, especially if you have no living elders in your life anymore? How can you access that? So I thought it would be beautiful to bring that in. And at the back of my box, if you have my deck, you'll notice there is an elder standing there on the back of my box. And originally the artwork had elders standing in them on every card. And that got changed up a little bit, but I got to keep this one. I got to keep that elder. But you will notice, somebody called them Easter eggs the other day, you will notice elders in some of the cards if you look closely. And there's
Mhm.
also some plant medicines, our traditional medicines, sweetgrass, cedar, sage is also in some of the cards as well. So take a really careful look at some of them and they're there, but mostly the animals are here to provide support, guardianship, kinship, love, protection, you know, and just help you remember who you are and why you're here.
Oh, so many beautiful things. I love this how you said the honoring of the elders, especially in our kind of Western societies that value innovation and youth. And we're missing out on that kind of multi-generational connection and passing on wisdom, passing down mentorship. It's just so beautiful. And for those of us that don't have well ancestors,
Reconnect,
living,
right?
yeah, living or past, like this is such um a beautiful way. I've been playing with your cards lately. I'm I'm finally on my book writing journey, my traditional publishing book writing journey. And I went on a retreat over the last few days, and I'm so glad that I got my deck and I brought my deck with me because, well, I just wanted your spirit there and your love and your support. And I was pulling cards every day just to guide me along my way. And I got Elder Loon. That was the first day when I was like doing my ritual to open up the time. I pulled Elder Loon Dive Deep, and this brought me to tears. Just the what you wrote in the booklet and the guide booklet about asking me to dive deep, to find my story, to find my medicine. And I was like, how did you do this? Like it spoke, all the cards spoke to exactly everything that I needed at the time.
Oh my goodness, I love that. I love creating decks. Like, I hope I get to do another one or two because it's almost a little bit more of a fun process than writing a book for me. Because it's short, right? It's just short form, and you get to infuse a lot of potent medicine in a couple paragraphs, really. So I would sit on my computer, and I would ask that animal to come in, and I would ask their heart, really, what is the essence of your why, you know, why you're here, what you're meant to, if somebody was to like call you in, what are you meeting for them? What are you tending to for them? And then the words would come. So they really are channeled in that way. And it's fun because then it's like one animal's, you know, finished and I get to go to the next. So it's always new and fresh energy coming in. And I really wanted to infuse that joy into the deck as well.
That is so beautiful. I can just see you sitting there and invoking. And, we know that you're a channel. I feel that oftentimes I'm a channel too. And when I look at your astrology, we both have our Sun, Jupiter conjunctions in the ninth house. Yours is in Gemini, mine's in Aquarius. You have your beautiful Libra rising, but you have a Capricorn moon. And Capricorn moon is the wisdom that lives in your bones. It's like the timekeeper, the tradition holder. And that's at the very bottom of your chart in your fourth house, super close to what's called the Imam Coeli. And I like to think of the Imam Coeli as that root. It's almost like that navel that connects us to our ancestors, connects us to our lineage. And I just imagine you as you're writing, as you're channeling, you're bringing up all and you're reclaiming all of this wisdom. All the elders are speaking through you. It's so beautiful.
My goodness. Thank you for telling me that. That's what it felt like for sure. So I'm glad my chart shows the same thing.
Absolutely. I have my chart ruler Mercury at the very top of my chart, so my channeling is a little bit different. Maybe my elders are coming through, but it's mostly from spirit.
I feel that. I feel that. When I watch you work, I feel that. So, or when I experience your medicine, I feel that so deeply. I'm like, how does she know that? How did that come through? And I feel so activated in my upper center. So I love that for you.
Oh, I love this for you. Coming, can you tell us a little bit more about the artwork? Because there's like hidden. This is one of the cards that I pulled, of course, Elder B, when I was on a day two of my writing retreat. Um, Work with purpose. I was like, oh, of course, but like the artwork is just so gorgeous.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, the artist for this deck, her name is Holly Pichette. She's incredible. She lives in London, Ontario, which is about 2.5 hours away from me. And so she's really familiar with the way the land looks and appears around here and all the animals that walk this land. So every animal chosen for the deck, I have a relationship with. They are part of this land except for two. Two of them are from the ocean because ocean medicine is my favorite. And if I was to live anywhere, it would be by the ocean. But the rest of them I have a direct relationship to. They walk on this land. I've encountered many of them. So they really are connected to both of our lineage and both of our lands, I guess, that we originate from. So she's amazing. And every time it's interesting to do art for a deck because you have a vision in your mind of what you want it to look like. So you say, okay, have the bear look like this, put this and this and this. And sometimes they would come back and I would gasp thinking, oh, how did she get that so beautifully? And it would really speak to my heart. So I was really grateful for this co-creation because she did a beautiful job.
Oh, it's just wonderful. And as I play and get to know this deck even more, I'm going to be on the lookout for all of the symbols and the sacred medicine that's embedded into the beautiful illustrations. Um, so, this is your second deck, and you said that you love writing decks, but how was this process maybe a little bit different than your previous writings?
Yeah, I think that because I've worked with spirit animals for so long, this one felt a little bit easier actually. And I knew how they came together to work together. The first deck, of course, they all work together as well, but it just felt like a little bit different spirit realms working together. And this one really was only animals. So it felt like they would, one would come out, the other one would be there waiting and holding space for that animal. So it felt like it was a community of beings that were there for one another that yeah, they just sort of meshed together and woven. They were woven together really beautifully. So it was a little bit different, and at the same time, I want to do another one because I just think it's such a different experience. Writing a book, you have to. I feel like you have to plant your butt down on that chair.
Yes,
Like
you do.
you have to like it's like you have to do it, and you have to make yourself do this. As you can breathe a little bit more effortlessly through a deck, you can do one, then you can take a break,
Mhm.
one entry is much different than one chapter. So I'm in the process of writing another book, and I think, oh my goodness, I have to now change into a book brain from a deck brain. But it is a very different experience. And I'm grateful. And I think just doing a deck already, you have that experience. So then that really gets poured into your next one.
Yes. Well, if you need any like butt sitting partnering as you're writing, happy to get online with you and
We'll
do
be doing
some.
that together. We'll be just planning out those days of co-working sessions.
So I have a question. Just thinking about your sacred medicine, Ojibwe medicine, and being an Indigenous medicine woman, and sharing the animal spirits of from your tradition. And is it okay that we form relationships and harness their energies too?
Yes, yes. I get this question so much. People asking, I don't know, I'm kind of afraid to use your deck, or am I appropriating it if I use your deck? First of all, I created these for everybody because I wanted a way, an accessible way, again, to merge things together. Like if you can learn from an Indigenous source and you can learn how to do it in maybe a good way or an appreciation way, then we can mend our relationships together. And that's why I created it as a bridge to come together so that we can work more harmoniously. And I do believe that this is a portal of cultural appreciation.
Yeah,
Using this animal spirit deck is that. So as you use it and support it and uplift it, you're doing that work with me. And I'm so grateful for that for me and my ancestors and the 7 generations to come. And I think that getting these teachings from the source is a really important like thing, I guess, intention to do. So I'm hoping that
absolutely.
people will hear that.
Oh my goodness. Spoken like such a beautiful Libra rising leader, creating the bridge and creating harmony and just like yeah, creating the bridge to your wisdom teachings. I feel like I talk a lot about appropriation, at least like in my circles and when I'm doing mentorship with some of my astrology students too, because there's so much information out there. At least I'm from Hawaii, and like people don't can't imagine why I don't call myself Hawaiian because I don't have Hawaiian blood. And when you're from Hawaii and you talk about Hawaiian versus non-Hawaiian, like I'm clearly not Hawaiian, even though I was born and raised and a child of Hawaii. I'm very like want to respect the culture, and if I borrow traditions from the culture, always like claiming where did I learn this from? Did I learn this from a practitioner? Because especially with Hawaiian culture and maybe in Indigenous and Ojibwe culture, there's so much appropriation in terms of like there's like huna trainings and like ho'oponopono certifications. First of all, there's no such thing as a huna. There's kahunas who are spiritual teachers, and like ho'oponopono, if you're learning this from a certification that like some other person who wasn't like native Hawaiian teaching it, I'm sorry, my friend, but that's not that's not okay. That's definitely appropriation.
Mm. And
But
sometimes we just need to know because we don't know, because these
mhm,
practices are passed down maybe in healing circles or we're learning through other spiritual teachers, and maybe they're not even aware either. So once
yeah,
we start to develop that awareness, we get to share that with people. And we can do that in a kind way and just call people in and say,
yes,
listen, this is harmful to marginalized communities. This is perhaps why. And I think that how we develop practices around cultural appreciation, reverence, giving back to community, knowing the history of the lands. All of these things are so vitally important to developing sacred relationships with the medicines and then with the people who've held them, who have had, quite frankly, really, harmful things that have happened to them and their ancestors as a result of that. So there was like a lot of these practices were illegal for us to practice.
yeah.
So even reclaiming them can feel like a bit of a trauma experience because it was illegal. We had to go underground for so many years. So then seeing somebody just flying sage around or doing ceremony when they don't have that same ancestry or lineage can feel really hurtful.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Well, I feel like, Asha, like you're such an inspiration because of the way that you lead with kindness and compassion and the way that you speak up for yourself, speak out for Indigenous traditions. Like you have been put so given so much responsibility. Maybe that's your Capricorn moon. Maybe you didn't ask for it. Maybe you did make a soul contract before you arrived into this lifetime. But you faced a lot of backlash,
Mm-hmm.
like both internally and externally. How do you deal with that when you're putting yourself out there and being so vulnerable and so visible, and yet people come and attack?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's easy. I wouldn't say I have a
Yeah.
solution yet. I know that there's something stronger, a force that's stronger than the attack that keeps me going. However, sometimes it still makes me collapse and take a break and a breather because I'm human. So I think that I've gotten less and less scared over the years, and I've built more capacity for
Mm.
that edge of whatever when people want to say or come and attack or take me down. I've had experience with it now, so you start to build capacity for that, and then you maybe take a break for a day instead of a week, or you cry it out, and then you're okay, you're clear, right?
Yeah.
I think the most important thing is getting really clear about your why. What's your purpose here? My ancestors are very clear. They speak through my heart and my belly and my bones. So that's never a question. Whenever I feel wobbly or I collapse, I just go back to that ancestral knowing and that ancestral instruction that says, this is what you're meant to do here. You touch so many lives. Remember the lives that you touched, the ripples you make, and the rest of it, yeah, like listen to it. If it has value, take note of it, see where
Mhm.
maybe you want to make amends or repair, and then keep going. So that's what I feel guided to do these days.
Yeah. So does it get easier, the longer that you've been doing it?
Yeah, I think it does. I think I was, this is an example. So when my book came out, I did not read any reviews because somebody told me a review, if you're super sensitive like me, can just take you down and then you don't want to show up at all. And so I thought, well, I'm going to sacred myself and I'm not going to read anything. And people would tell me, oh my goodness, you're missing out on all these beautiful reviews. And I felt that and I was grateful for them, but I couldn't go and read them. And now I find myself going in and reading the reviews because it is so joyful and I am so grateful. That got easier, but it was really hard for me. I froze when my book came out and I froze around reading any reviews because, when you see like a 1 star, 2 star review, it's like your life's heart work going out there and it's so vulnerable. And then if it
Yeah.
doesn't land for somebody, that's just, it is what it is, but it's hard.
It is what it is, but it's hard. Yes. I know when I'm feeling super sensitive, like usually when I have like low energy or low capacity or like kind of that depression, I definitely lean on others. Like I know Jeff, I'll ask him to like compile and read stuff for me. And like, like if I'm getting an email from somebody and who might be upset with me, I'm like, Jeff, can you read this first? Just tell me what's like I need that extra padding because I'm
I
sensitive too.
do. I know, and I think that that's okay. Like, I think sometimes we shame ourselves thinking, oh, I should be tougher. I should have thicker skin by now, right? As an entrepreneur all these years. But I think like it's so important to acknowledge our humanity and acknowledge, but I think that it does get easier when you start to deal with it a little bit more and oh my gosh, I didn't die. Because I think it feels sometimes like you might die. If somebody attacks me, I might die because in past lives or experiences, we
Yeah.
have that lineage trauma of being persecuted and killed. So it could feel that intense in our system. But I'm still here. You're still here. We did it.
You're still here, and your ancestors are saying, this is your purpose. You're touching so many lives as with your Thunderbird medicine.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So should I do a reading? Should I do a reading?
Yeah, let's do a reading. Let's frame it actually, because or how do you want to do the reading? Because we also have some medicine for solstice. Do you want to do a reading and then do some solstice medicine?
I'll share about the
Or
solstice because we're
yeah,
moving into that energy, and I have my Mako behind me, so that's the Great Bear, and on the medicine wheel's turning, right? We're moving from fall in the northern hemisphere to that winter season, where Bear comes in and welcomes us into the great mystery, saying, "Okay, what did you let go of? What skins did you shed? What did you bring to a
mm,
death ceremony? How did you let that mulch and compost into Mother Earth? Because now we're going to take that." Beautiful composting energy, and we're going to do something with it in the darkness. We're going to let it, furrow burrow down, let it gain some nutrients as you rest. So it
mm,
calls us into greater listening to our bodies, greater listening to our boundaries, more sacred no's, right? And I've noticed that happening for me. Like people are asking me to do things in June, and I'm like, no. You should ask me in winter because I'm in bear medicine season already, and it's already a no because my body's just like I'm so tired.
uh-huh.
So it's pulling us into that, and then the winter solstice is so magical because of course we have that darkest, longest night of the year where we can see the stars sparkling. We're reminded that you can only see the light through the darkness. So honoring that sacred darkness within us and the shadow within us that ultimately we can cultivate some light on the other end of that. So that winter solstice medicine is one of my favorites. And bear medicine is one of my protectors, and it can be your protector too. So if you feel like you need some extra help in setting boundaries or listening to your body boundaries, or if you're really used to bypassing yourself and you know that things blow up in your life because you've said yes to it when you really meant no, call on bear. And you can do it just like Mukla or beautiful bear. I welcome you in. You can zip yourself up in a beautiful bear suit or a bear fur to surround you with some extra courage to do the things you need to do so you can take care of yourself. Because I think that's so, so important for all of us at this time.
Yes.
And we're going to disappoint people and people aren't going to like it, but at least we can still go, keep going and share our medicine with the world when we build capacity. So that is that. And I wanted to do a reading for people for the
Yay,
solstice.
thank
So
you.
I thought we could ask, what is the next season bringing for those who are listening here? And I'm going to choose 3 cards just to see the vibe of the medicine here. So, what is the energy of this season bringing to everyone? And what are the messages? It's so fascinating. I've been choosing cards all week because it came out this week, and I keep choosing the same cards. And I think that it just really shows how these cards work. Like they are a true oracle for the energy of these times. And again, we did. So I got the duck, and the
Oh,
duck.
Elder
So,
Duck.
right, we have the duck, and it says follow the flow. So I think this is really beautiful because it's an embodiment card. It's asking you where you feel rigidity, where you feel stuckness, where you get like that, like, nope, or, don't go that way. And some of us think, I got to push through, I got to hustle through, I got to make it work. Don't go that way. Go where there's flow, whether it's relationships, opportunities. When it's feeling sticky and stuck, duck's like, no, no, not the way.
Yeah.
Not the way. Like, just let the current carry you forward. So that is
It's
important for this season.
it's not Elder Salmon saying let's go upstream.
That's right. That's right. And then we also have Elder Turkey. So this one says, give with gratitude, give thanks. Now, Elder Turkey opens us up to the blessing. So it's saying, like, there are so many blessings around in that darkness. There's so many blessings around when you stop and you pause and you give presence to everything. So Turkey reminds us that as we are more present with those blessings, they increase in our lives. So it's really time for us to open up to that during this season. Look around, soak it up. It's been an intense season for all of us, I think, especially if you're living in so-called United States. So I think that it's like, okay, what can we be grateful for? What can we see? I think that's important. The last one we got was the porcupine. So the porcupine is one of
Ooh.
those similar to bear. It's kind of like a spiky bear, right? It's like guard your space. Now porcupine, they're kind of chubby and they walk up and they've got their quills already up. They're not going to shoot them out unless there's a threat. So porcupine's like, stand guard with your present energy where you're like, listen, don't mess with me, have your boundaries rooted, have the beings that you're relating with know that, like, okay, you can't really step over that, so porcupine's like, I'm not going to hurt you unless you harm me, right? So but it's almost like a stance. It's like, find that warrior stance, find that sacred no stance, and guard your space, protect your peace,
Yeah.
protect that rest space during the season because you need it. We all need it.
Ooh, protect your peace. That is a really good reminder. This is so beautiful. So when we think about the duck and the turkey and the porcupine, what's that larger message that we need to take away?
Yeah, well, I think it's interesting with the duck because it's saying to, like, follow the flow, and then you've got porcupine protecting that. So I really feel
Mhm.
like there's this bigger message of bear ultimately that's just like, um, you have this rest season. So make sure that you have set yourself up in a good way to make sure that you have time to build your capacity to rest, to heal, to restore. Like, make sure you've set that up and you have a little bit more time to do that, right? So you have a
Yeah.
whole season to allow that to go forward. And also, like, lean in and maybe receive a little bit this season where things don't have to feel so hard. They can be easier. They can be easier, which I think is like a beautiful message because that turkey ultimately brings in blessings. And it's saying, like, on the other end of this rest, you have blessings. So things can be easy, you are protected, and open yourself up to the blessings that are about to come in.
Oh, that's so good, Asha. Like I'm really feeling that on so many levels. I some of my business coaches have been thinking that I'm crazy. And I'm like, I'm gonna take a sabbatical. I don't know how my money is gonna come in. I don't know how I'm gonna pay for all my expenses, but I know I need to take some time to rest and write this book and like not do anything. And I'm doing the turkey trust.
I love that so much. And yeah, I mean, I've done that many times over my career, right? Where I knew that, like, my body could not go anymore and
Yeah,
I was already burnt out and I had to
yeah.
stop. And everything always worked out on the other side. Even though I was so desperate and thinking, oh my gosh, everything's crumbling apart. No, that rest was the thing I needed to get to the next level of creation.
Mm, so beautiful. I think that reading was for me, Asha. Thank you.
I love that. I love that it resonated.
Well, everyone, thank you, Asha, for joining me in your busy schedule. I know this is a really busy time for you with your new deck that has just come out. Everybody, please get this deck, buy this for yourself, buy this for friends. I bought a whole number of them for gifts this year. It's like the perfect gift for anybody on your woo-woo spiritualist, which is
Yeah.
everyone for me.
Oh, I love that.
Thank you for your time and sharing that beautiful reading with us and the teachings of Bear and just
Thank
for
you
being
so
you, Asha.
Thank you. It's so interesting because it's like getting so dark, right? We're almost in like the darkest time, and now it's like really dark outside all of a sudden. So I feel like we're right in there. We're right there, and with that beautiful solstice energy. Happy solstice, everyone, and thank you, Leslie. I always love being here.
Yes, and you can find Asha on her website at ashafrost.com, and you can buy her deck at any place that you buy books.
That's right. Thank you.
As a human design projector, my energy shines more brightly because of people like you who share my work. If you enjoy this podcast and want to help build a movement of innovative astrology and leadership and spark the intuitive revolution, please rate and review this podcast on Apple Podcasts, or better yet, share this podcast with your change-making besties. We will all shine brighter together as we create the future we want to see.